Is there some degree to where both leaderships, Hamas, PA, Palestinian Authority, Israel, all want war, like perpetual war to remain in power?
That's an interesting question. But I mean, let's admit something: the Arab regimes in the area have actually used the problem of Palestine in order to stay in power, in order to getting excuses like have this enemy, and Israel, the Israeli government has used that too, and maybe the Palestinians, but my problem with when going into discussion this is that the two sides are not equal. They're not equal in power, they're not equal in influence, and they're not equal in international support, especially by the United States. So Palestinians can, the people who have made changes in history were the people with power, the people who would have the ability to change things, and the Palestinians cannot really change it. What can they change?
Well, is that true though?
Okay.
With how much support the Palestinian people have. So, just like you said, there's a lot of Arab states that will voice their pro-Palestinian position in order to distract from the own corruption and abuses of power in their own countries. But I don't think if you look globally, there's a complete asymmetry of power and public opinion here. Maybe in the press in the West, but if you look globally,
But do they have the same kind of weapons that the Israeli have?
so literally power, no, there's a major asymmetry of literal power.
Some money to their leaders. Does that make any difference? I mean, and also when you say Palestinian Authority, which authority are you talking about? Hamas or the Palestinian Authority who has been kind of a domesticated, kind of like a puppy for the Palestinians, who basically have been an informant for on their own people? And this is the thing also that kind of like really pissed me off when I was hearing the thing about these things. Like Hamas. Like, we have Netanyahu on tape confessing that he supported Hamas, gave him money in order to cause factions in between the Palestinians. So it's just like, it doesn't make. You just told me this. You just told me this. You just told me Netanyahu support Hamas. It's like, but Hamas, like what?
I mean, to which degree does Netanyahu represent the Israeli people? Is a real question.
To which point does Trump or Biden represent the American people?
And to which degree does Hamas represent the Palestinian people?
Does none of these represent it, but who have the power in order to make the decisions? It really comes down to that.
Well, who does have the power? You're giving a lot of power to Israel.
Yeah,
but the Arab League.
What should Hamas do? What do you think we should Hamas do?
Continue doing what a charter says, which is trying to destroy Israel. And the role of the Palestinian people is to overthrow Hamas and get a more moderate leadership, probably. And the role of the Israeli people is to vote out this right-wing government and elect a more moderate leader so that there's a chance at peace with two moderate leaders.
So before Hamas even got to control 2006 Gaza, there was Ariel Sharon in 2000. And we all know what happened. And Ariel Sharon kind of like came up with this amazing policy of like breaking people's kids' bones in the Intifada. So Barak was also like, I mean, which one is moderate? I mean, the thing is, Hamas is a product of what happened. I mean, we can, if there was no apartheid in South Africa, there would be no NFC. There will be no Nelson Mandela. If there were no Nazis in Paris, there would be no French resistance. And I'm not saying that. And again, I'm not. Don't want to be put in a position to defend Hamas or anybody, because you know what that entails. But those are like Hamas. Again, not defending them. They went into October 7th. What was their why did they did that? Like, release our hostages, the people in prison, because if you're talking about people who were kidnapped, Israel kidnaps people every single day. And when they had the first exchange on November 4th, Israel released 400 people, 3/4 of them were women and children. Why are those people in prison? There's 1 in 4 kids that are imprisoned that stay in solitary confinement, which is by international law a form of torture. And you're putting kids through that.
Is it possible? So first of all, ceasefire.
Yes.
And longer term, is it possible for Arab states and the United States to get together and with power through diplomacy enforce a solution.
It's a very, very ideal solution, but you know, and I know, that the Arab states don't really have the power. All of the powers are in the hands of
I
America.
think they have the power. See, I think they have the power. I don't.
Maybe they don't want to use it.
They don't want. Well,
Maybe
that's
they don't. Maybe they
because there's a benefit. Like
Maybe there's a benefit.
the dark sense I have is that a lot of people win from the suffering that Palestinians are going through because they can point to that and distract from
definitely
corruption in their own states. And then obviously Iran can benefit also from the same kind of dynamic, distracting from the authoritarian nature of their regime.
Definitely, but what is the core of the problem here? Is it the Arab states using the suffering, or the suffering itself? And the suffering comes from people being displaced, their homes were taken away. There are 7 million Palestinians in diaspora. 7 million. 7 million went out there, and now they're living in Canada and America and Europe. They had homes there they cannot go back to. 1.7 million people of the people in Gaza don't belong in Gaza. They were pushed from other places.